I'm Nick, one of the chairs of the Blues and Barbecue Planning Committee, and today we're chatting with some of the Blues committee members to get a scoop on what goes on behind the scenes. Right now, I'm joined by Kevin Crall, who helps organize Food Vendor Alley and has been doing it for a long time. Hey, Kevin, thanks for coming on today to chat with us.
Hi, Nick. It's great to be here. Glad to do it.
So, how did you first get involved in Blues and Barbecue? Because you've been involved for a long time.
Yeah, I've actually been part of the planning committee for a little over 10 years. I originally started, it was an opportunity that came up at work where we were providing some volunteers for different activities throughout the event, and I signed up for an activity. And my first year, I was just helping with some of the inflatables, the kids' activities, and then after that, another one of my coworkers had actually moved on, so I made the decision to kind of fill her shoes and then start kind of the planning process with the food vendors, and I've been doing that for the past 10 years.
The food vendors, how has that changed over that time?
It's changed dramatically. When I first started, obviously we were still in Liberty Center, and the number of vendors we had were only a handful. With the size of the crowd, it has grown exponentially. We've had to add more vendors. We have a little bit more variety. The main theme that we like to see throughout is local. We like to highlight a lot of the food vendors that are within the area that people can go see outside of Blues and Barbecue to kind of help promote and help people that do have their businesses within the North Liberty area.
You mentioned how the number of vendors has really grown, and it used to be in the early days we could take anybody who was interested in vending, and for the last few years we've actually had more folks interested than we've been able to accommodate. What are you looking for? You mentioned local. What are you looking for when you put together that list of vendors for Food Vendor Alley?
Yeah, that's probably one of the least favorite things that we have to do as part of the food vendor committee is because the event has grown as it has over the number of years. It has become quite popular, and we have gotten a lot of attention from various food vendors throughout all of Eastern Iowa, even traveling all the way to the Des Moines area. So when applications do get submitted, it is a process to where we sit down with 3 or 4 other committee members. We go through and just kind of go through their application. We see what type of food they have to offer. Obviously we do like to make barbecue the main source that we do have, obviously with the event, but we also do like to have a good variety, because we do know that we have a lot of children that attend the event, so we want to kind of cater to to their needs as well. But we go through that process where we look at the application. We also look at if we've had a previous vendor. A vast majority, if not all of our vendors, we've had very positive experiences in the past. So typically when our guests do arrive on the day of the event, they do see a lot of familiar faces. But in the event that we do have an opening, one or 2 openings, we do like to have some variety too. We like to see some different types of barbecue, some different types of foods that may be a little bit unique, but also we feel that will go over well with the crowd.
So how early in the year do you start sort of thinking about Blues and Barbecue?
It's not uncommon for a handful of food vendors to reach out to us mid to late February, just asking, if we've released our application yet, to confirm up to date. They want to make sure that they have our event on their calendar. And that's kind of testament to the planning committee, to the event as a whole, where we know our premier top-notch food vendors are circling our event on the calendar, which is always a good feeling.
What other things are you making sure you have to take care of before we get to July and the actual festival?
We are in constant contact with all applicants, all vendors, the ones that are ultimately selected for the event. We do meet with them in person prior to the event, and that's just to go over day of event logistics, but we have to go through and make sure we have our layout correct. Each vendor kind of has their own unique vending spot, but we have some take a little bit more space than others, so we have to make sure everything fits just right. We have to make sure that everybody's power supply and needs are met, and then again, like we're just in constant contact where we'll have vendors email us, call us, ask us what we think, maybe new menu items, or if we have any idea of what the music acts are going to be. And we always get the question about, how big we think the crowd's going to be. And we're always quick to not promise anything, but those vendors that have been there in the past, they know that if there's nice weather, the crowds will show up. So it's our job to make sure every food vendor is ready for that. And we can confidently say that we've had great success with that.
Yeah, and I mean, even the day of, I know you show up early and you leave late. What's the day of the festival like for you? Obviously, you're not out front plating up ribs and stuff, but I know how much work you put in to making sure folks have what they need and that runs smoothly. So, what's your day like on festival day?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. A lot of my work actually starts the day prior. That's when we do load in for all the food vendors. We like to do that. We started doing that a couple of years ago, and it really worked well for us as a committee, but then also as the food vendors as well. Because what we like to do the day before is get everybody loaded into their spot, make sure that they're settled, make sure that all the power, everything works well. So that starts typically the day on that Friday before around noon. Saturday morning rolls around. We typically show up between 6 and 6:30 in the morning. And as soon as you pull into the parking lot, you can already smell the grills are already fired up. People have already started their process prepping for the day. So typically what I do on the day of the event is I'm just going up and down Food Vendor Alley, just talking with each individual vendor, making sure their needs are met, making sure everybody's doing well, offering if they need a hand, if they need help with anything. Really what my role is just to help any way that I can, because in my personal opinion, it's our responsibility to make sure we give them the resources to put their best foot forward, because we know that if they have success, then we're definitely going to have a successful event.
That's so great, and I know that you take a lot of pride in making sure that you're driving raw ribs from their stockpiles and their that might be offsite or in the parking lot in a truck there over so that they can restock or whatever that is, and that you're doing a lot of running back and forth throughout the whole day. So thank you for all that work, Kevin. As we head out, I do want to ask two other questions real quick. First. What's your favorite moment from Blues and Barbecue?
This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was a favorite moment for me personally because it was the first year that I had actually ran the food vendors by myself. Typically in the years past, I've had one or two people along with our group, helping us out as kind of a subcommittee. But there was one year where I was there by myself with the food vendors, and it went really, really well. The food vendors actually stepped up. We had a great year. The weather was absolutely beautiful, and the community came out in significant numbers. So it was all around. It was almost a perfect day, and that's one where I will remember for quite a while.
Awesome, Kevin. On our way out, last question: what song do you want to hear?
I have to admit, and this is something that I get a lot of questions from friends and different coworkers about the music lineup and what's been my favorite performer in the past. And I have to say that typically the day of the event, I'm running around so much and helping out with food vendors. I really don't have a whole lot of time to stop and appreciate the music and the talent that we have up on stage. So to be quite honest with you, I couldn't tell you what song I want to hear next. I have a lot of confidence that I know that in the past we've had some beautiful music. So whatever comes up next, I'm sure will be a great one.
Well, how about from that year that I think you're referencing, which is when we had St. Paul and the Broken Bones? How about Broken Bones and Pocket Change from Half the City? Let's play that one next. Thanks so much, Kevin.
You bet. Thanks, Nick.